Hello, my dear friends. This is Judy Covington again, coming to tell you another slice of history of TMCI. Today I want to talk to you about how Ben and Judy Covington met Bob and Jenny Coulter. And it's another one of those things where it's just a tiny little thing leads to so much. But we were in the mountains of North Carolina attending a conference, Bible teaching conference. And one evening we had free, so we decided to go and find a little church. It was either Sunday or Wednesday, don't remember which, to see if we couldn't go, and just encourage the people there. So we went to this little church. It was actually in a home, it was in a house. And when we got there was this couple there that were just, we didn't know at the time, we're from out of town. They were visiting. They had the same idea we had, go to a small church and encourage the pastor and the people. Well, the pastor, he asked this other couple if they would like to say a word or something, and they said, well, they would like to sing. So anyway, she sat down at the piano, she started playing, and he started singing. And it was just really, really good. And then he asked us if we wanted to say something. We said a little testimony, and the service went on, and then that was all we thought about it, and it was over. Well, then this couple, it turns out, pastored a church in Indiana called Finn's Community Church in a cornfield, completely surrounded by cornfield. So when we went there, they invited us to come, and we went. And when we got there, we met one of their elders was Robert Coulter, and his wife Jenny, of course, precious lady. And I asked, first night of this meeting, Ben preached on Lazarus come forth, and about how the people had to take the grave clothes off of Lazarus. That, he leaves something for us to do, and he asked us to help other people remove the grave clothes, support them, and disciple them and be there for them. So Bob's testimony is that he went home and he asked his wife, do I have to go back? And she said, yes, you do. And so he came back, but he said, that guy is weird. Well, as the week wore on, Ben and Bob got to talking, and Ben found out that Bob had a factory there in that town, and that Bob said, well, I'm going to have to go there because we have a machine that is not working, and it's an expensive machine. It's very central to our business, and it's just not working. So Ben said, well, let me go with you. Let me come visit you. So, okay, you come for lunch, and I'll show you around. So Ben went, and they had lunch, and then Bob took him down showed him through the offices in the factory, and took him finally into the room where this machine was, this huge machine. And there was an engineer there working on it. So Ben pulls out his oil and he anoints it, and prays for it. Well, by Bob's testimony, he couldn't see where that could do any good at all, just put oil on the machine. But when they left the building and Ben was going to come back to where we were staying, the engineer was leaving the building also. He said, the machine is fixed. He said, it's running. Don't know why, but it's running. Just another thing that God does. He just puts these little miracles, well, not a little miracle, that was a big miracle, in front of us to show us that he's still with us. So after we met Bob, after he retired from and sold his business, he started going on missions with Ben. He went in 1989, he went to Chile and Brazil. 1990, Paraguay. The work in Paraguay was actually started by the Brazilian Methodist Church, but we went to Paraguay. They had a tent revival, and while they were there, they decided they were going to go and lay hands on and ordain Bob Varga, who had been working as a missionary there. So they went out to Bob's house. Well, they get up really early, and they don't have good electricity, so it's after 9 o'clock, and they were asleep. So we woke him up and ordained him, and he said later, I thought you were coming to fire me. And he said, thank God you didn't. So this is some mission trips that Bob was involved in, and then as he got to know us better and trust us, then we had a meeting in 1991 in Greensboro, North Carolina. I've got the little, 1995, I have the little brochure here. And at that meeting, we ordained a bunch of bishops. Hadn't really done much of that before. but just trying to spread the work out, and have other people responsible. I think Bob was one of those that we ordained as a bishop. Yes, he was ordained as a bishop at that meeting in 1995. Also, at that same time, Ben made a list of order of succession, people that he wanted to follow him into this ministry, because we didn't believe that God had done this for it to die with us. We thought God was doing something that should go on. So we made the succession, and when Ben died in 2003, at his funeral, I talked to Bob and offered him the job if he wanted to take it. And so he came on board. It was a hard year for him because his wife suffered a stroke as they were packing up to move. And but he came on anyway, and finally they moved down. And maybe next time he can tell you some of the stories, some of the hard times he went through when he was first here. But Bob is a wonderful man of integrity and honor, and I am so glad that when the decision was made for a successor, that he was chosen, because he every day that I spend with him, working with him, I have more and more respect for him. So that's all for today, and we'll think about some more later.